Moment. Okay, we are good to go. We should be up and running, everybody.
Awesome. All right, welcome to another week of Hard Money Bankers State of the Market. Now, we've gotten some feedback that it's a little bit of doom and gloom on our show the last few weeks. I mean, we started this 6 weeks ago, not expecting to go 6 weeks, but obviously we're still here. Today we have a really awesome guest, top producer, top realtor, top leader in New Jersey, and also hopefully a breath of fresh air for everybody. It won't be all doom and gloom. You know, Vanessa's going to be great for this. So, Vanessa Pollock, everyone, thank you for joining us, Vanessa.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, yeah.
That's a great intro. I hope I deliver that for you.
Yeah. I mean, so I guess before we dive into real estate, you know, I see you're super active in your communities and just the groups you're in. So, I mean, you want to just tell us what you got going on outside of real estate right now? I mean, a lot of it seemed pretty positive, and I thought it'd be good stuff to share with everyone.
Well, it's interesting. I guess you could say it's outside of real estate, but I really have a very, holistic mashup of personal and business and family and life, and it all comes together all the time. So
yeah.
Because my real estate business operates from a generosity business model and a service business model, for me to be plugged into the community, it's just inherently who I am and how I operate as a human, and also how I operate my business. Separate from real estate, but it is just who I am.
Gotcha, makes sense.
When all of this started going the way it did 6 weeks ago, are you talking about what we're doing in terms of the healthcare heroes and that whole thing? Tell me which story you want me to go with.
I mean, honestly, it's whatever one you want to share right now. I mean, yeah, the healthcare heroes is what I just saw.
From a selfish perspective, right? If you don't mind, I'm going to jump in. So, Vanessa, I would ask two things. One, how are you adapting your business and transactions to this? As we just mentioned in the pre-show, that you've kind of you're more busy than you've been, or a different kind of busy. And then, what other items, since you're so involved in the community, like what do you actively do in the community? I believe you're with, if I screw this up, it is. It's definitely KW, because I'm putting your name on the bottom of the screen.
Yes.
Like, that's it. So Keller Williams is very big on like community interaction as well.
Yes.
So talk about your business, what's going on, what you're doing to stay productive, and then talk about how you interact with your community.
Yeah, thank you. So we woke up 6 weeks ago like everybody else did and had about 20 million in sales volume on our sales board pending for the rest of March, April, and May, and immediately had to figure out how to bulletproof those transactions and protect our buyers and sellers, and make sure that everyone was safe, and also help them stay the course on obtaining their real estate goals. So our team overnight went into everyone working from home, just like the world did, and I immediately instituted daily 9 a.m. Zoom huddle meetings where the entire team logged on, and we talked sale by sale by sale by sale about those buyers and sellers and what that family needed and how we could serve them, how we could help them. And the first couple of weeks, like all of us, we were trying to figure out how to make things happen. Like, the court's closed. Well, my seller's been in the house for longer than 30 years, so we don't have access to the deed. So how do we close? Like, every day presented a new challenge and a new opportunity to reinvent. And so while bulletproofing all of our transactions and calling our people all the time, we also had to pivot our entire marketing plan to exclusively digital marketing for all of our sellers. And I called my brochure design company and I said, guys, we got to take our print brochures to virtual within 24 hours. Talked through all of that. We launched relaunched like every aspect of our marketing digitally within a few days, because we had new listings coming out and the sellers wanted to stay the course. They had real estate goals that we needed to help them hit, and we were not about to not figure it out for them. So we did. And so I'm grateful to say that 19 out of 20 of our transactions held together over the course of these last 6 weeks. And
how fast
several
did you
of
react?
them.
How fast did you react, Vanessa? How fast? You said your team immediately jumped on. I'm not sure if you can hear me. I think okay.
We went into shelter in place in New Jersey on March 21st, right? We had our first team huddle on Monday morning, March 23rd, from home, and it was effective immediately. And every single day was just troubleshooting. Okay, how do we change this to digital? How do we make this happen? We spent an hour to 2 hours every single morning recapping the day before what the challenges were and what our new systems and way of handling them were going to be going forward. And it's taken doing that every single day to stay on top of everything. So it was immediate.
I can say we've had quite a few guests on this show and some big, big players such as yourself. Like I'm sure you know some of the names that have been on here. And they've all gone through the adaptation phase, like same thing that you have. The one thing I've noticed though is everybody took about a week to a week and a half to take the shell shock out. But it seems like you guys, I mean, Rye, as far as I can tell, this is the fastest responding individual we've come up, or team we've come up with. I mean, you were like, okay, the bombs hit the ground.
I don't know who your other I don't know who your other guests have been, but maybe I'm the oldest of all of them. You're
definitely not. No, you're definitely not. You're definitely not.
I was going to say I adapted, not in real estate, but in life to Y2K and 9/11 and in the recession. And I mean, you guys, I remember the day I was sitting in the broker's office in 2008, the day that Lehman Brothers doors closed. And our office had a listing with 13 offers on it. All 13 offers were pulled the next day. It was like the sucking sound of, the change of the industry in 2008. You could hear it so loud in the office. And I immediately had to pivot and figure out, how do I stay in business? How do we make it, how do I sell houses when now all of a sudden it's a buyer's market? And so I have definitely had to become incredibly resilient over the years. And one of the core values of our team is change. And we know that the only thing that never changes is that things will always change. And that was a core value way before this hit. So I kind of feel like we were made for this. We were built for this. And the moment we needed to change, everybody was ready to do it.
I mean, if you're closing on 19 out of 20 of those, the results speak for itself. You guys for sure were prepared for this.
Not many people did that. I know a lot of people in this business that had a lot of volume sitting there and they were not transitioning that many closings for sure. I mean, they even the big players were, having much higher fallout than what you were able to pull off. So,
well, we're old school, and one of our core values is pick up the phone and talk to people, right? And we knew early on, I told the team, I was like, we get to be the voice of reason right now. We get to be the calming factor. And not that we're not freaked out ourselves, but when it comes to real estate and helping make good, smart decisions about long-term shelter needs at interest rates that are historically low, people need to live somewhere, and we need to help be the voice of reason and keep them calm so that they don't choose a different course that is not in the long-term best interest of their family. People need a place to live, right? And so, I will say we just had a closing on Friday. We had a house that listed the week that all of this happened. It was listed for $569,000. We received multiple offers and we accepted an offer. And I told the sellers, I said, lock this down, make this happen. And whatever they ask for along the way, you're going to say yes. And they said, okay, we're going to say yes, because they were landlord owners who lived on the West Coast. We'd helped them keep the house rented for the last 9 years, and they were ready to cash in on this investment. Well, of the 569,000 list price, we accepted an offer at $650,000. So
That's
again, I said we're gonna make a smart business decision. Whatever they ask for on home inspection, we're gonna say yes. And we negotiated hard on the appraisal contingency. I set up all kinds of safety nets for all of us around the appraisal. And then the house actually appraised. So we closed on Friday at 650, and their testimonial about what we were able to do in the COVID-19 season means the world to me, because my job was to help them cash in on that investment, and I'm super proud that we helped them do it even in this season.
I think of like one of the themes that we've had on the show from like, with a lot of people that have been through multiple cycles and stuff is like, now the experts shine. And like what you just walked us through was like, if you're a new agent, you would have lost that in a heartbeat. You need a leader such as yourself with experience, because you knew right away how to handle that seller. Because if you didn't do it the way you just did, from experience from 2008, from 2002 and so forth, like you could see this coming a mile away. A new agent or somebody that hasn't been in this before, they would have had, the seller would have walked all over them. The buyer would have wanted this. It would have blown up. Financing would have fallen through. Like you took the bull by the horns immediately. And that is where, in our opinion, those experts like yourself, as this thing, moves and shifts, people are going to be like, oh, how did Vanessa get to where she is? When she was doing this, it's like she knew how to survive and thrive in an environment like this where most people get chewed up. So have you been finding like the learning experience? Because do you have a team? You have people under you?
I do. There's 12 of us on Pollock Properties Group. Yep.
Are they like, this is where you have to show them what you're like, because it's easy on the way up, right? Like everybody can close the deal on the way up, but when these moments happen, is this where like you're like all hands on deck, watch what I'm doing here now, because this will set you up for a decade? Yeah.
Yes, and that's so much of my training model for the last almost decade has been to have people shadow and listen and learn as I'm doing what I'm doing. So those daily huddle meetings that we're having on Zoom, I just had one this morning, and I said, okay guys, here's what happened on the new listing on Friday, and this is true story, and I got to fill them all in. I said Friday night we got a full price offer sight unseen on our new listing that went live Friday morning, and yet as much as the sellers wanted to accept it, I need to know that they have backup offers right now. So we continued to show the house over the weekend. We ended up with 3 offers in writing. We went to a final and best situation yesterday where we were able to come to terms and agree to a great price. But what I really had to do was say, that's great that you didn't see the house and you want to buy it. My sellers are not willing to take on the liability of you having a change of heart at the home inspection. So we are not moving forward with you unless you see the house safely, but in person over the weekend, to which they did. So, yes, we have to have the best digital marketing because they were willing to buy the house based on my marketing alone, but then I have to protect the seller down the road as well. So anyway, we had that whole conversation, and I said, this is what happened over the weekend. This is how we handle these situations. Because really, I just need them to know exactly when they're the listing agent of one of our properties, how they're going to advocate for their client and see that through. So yeah, it's very intentional to be on the Zooms every single morning and talk through every transaction, because there's people who don't have any sales on the board right now, but they are on every morning and they're listening, because as they hear each of us talk about how we're bulletproofing each deal for our clients, they're learning and they're just getting all of that wisdom for when they do get super busy.
Yeah, it's funny. So I'm going to let Ryan speak to this in a minute. So I don't know if you know much about me, Vanessa. I don't, because I did most of my stuff in like South Jersey and Philly and so forth, but I've done thousands of transactions over the past decade. So I'm very familiar. I always say like the art of closing a deal is like, people underestimate how hard some deals can be. It's easy like when everything runs, but most deals, there's an art to it, and that's where experience comes in. And Ryan will attest to the fact that, Ryan, Ryan came into the business after me, so I had to teach Ryan things along the way. And a lot of it was exactly what you said, which is like, even if you don't have anything going on, the amount of years that we can cut off the timeline, or the amount of money that will save you right now. I mean, Ryan, you could probably talk about like, you just sit there and go, okay, I'm going to listen. And like, I know it might not be the most exciting thing that you don't have something in the pipeline right now, but I'm going to give you like $100,000 tip right here because, like it cost me $100,000 to learn it or whatever it may have been. What do you think?
Yeah, just using Vanessa's experience there of saying, okay, but we're not going to move forward until the buyer sees the house, right? Like that is an experienced play. You weren't waiting for legal or anything like that to figure the situation out. You said, no, this is going to get jammed up because if you don't see it, that's going to fall apart and the whole closing is going to, blow up. So you made that 6-week deal happen, right? If you from the time you listed, and that's the experience that Ian's talking about. That you need somebody like you who can just see where deals are going to fall apart, what could happen, and you just cover it up right away. So
right. I mean, it's time on task over time. Like for me, having done this for 15 years now, I've just got the experiential wisdom, and just like you guys are doing in terms of how you're training and learning from each other. I feel exactly the same way and think of myself more as, a mentor and leader than anything else. And I love equipping people on my team to succeed. It's funny. When I first got into the business, I was a rental agent in the Empire State Building for 3 months, and very quickly learned that was not the pond I wanted to be swimming in because it was filled with sharks, and I had a very moral compass than a lot of the people that I was surrounded by. So then I immediately became an assistant. I was an assistant to a top producing agent in Montclair, New Jersey. I just learned by watching her, and I never forget my first week with her. She came in, she dropped this giant book of maps of all the towns in New Jersey. And she was like, we're going to every broker open house, whether we've got a client for it or not. You have to know the inventory, and don't you dare get on a GPS. Study this map and get to know these towns so that you can be the local expert. Because if a buyer sees you log onto a GPS, they know you don't know the town. And it just, she, even though we had to get out of business with each other about 8 months later, she taught me a lot about how observation and absorbing other people's wisdom was the fastest way to success, for sure.
Sure. It's like that math teacher that wouldn't let you use the calculator, right?
Exactly.
You gotta know how to do it.
Well, my husband jokes because my initials are VP. He's like, she's like a VPS. You just tell her the color of the house and what the tree looks like, and she knows exactly what street you're on.
What's fantastic about that? That was an unsolicited comment that she just said. I tell a story very frequently when I first got in the market about a guy who, he's flipping like 10 houses a month, and he knows his area so well. And people are like, well, I always give people advice in investing when they say like, well, how do I do this? I'm like, learn your market and learn to market. You do that, and everything else will solve itself. I'm like, it's such a good saying. I think I came up with it. If I didn't, I'll take credit for it until somebody else does. But what I usually tell people is that story, what you just said, I was like, if you want to know if you know your market, I was like, I remember when I was wholesaling a deal in like 08 or 09 to this guy who I was just figuring it out. And he was like, negotiating over the phone blind with me. And he goes, I'm going to pay you $65,000 for this house, whatever the number was. And I was like, you haven't seen it, and this, that, and the other. He goes, Ian, it's the one with the roof, yellow house next to this, next to that. And I'm like, how do you possibly know that? And from my perspective, I was like, that is a person that knows their market. I mean, knows their market because he's never been to the house. I'm telling him about a deal he's calling me on, and he's telling me the color of the house is next to it. I'm going, holy cow. But that is the level of being an expert that people need to be in their farm areas. And that's what you just said about the map and all that is such a good point.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I find that's, and that comes with experience and I always say like with like the mega teams like yours and stuff like this, I'm like, people, like if you're going to join a mega team, you want to get you as the mega team leader, because there's a lot of different mega team leaders. Some of them have big names, but they don't offer what you're offering from a leadership perspective. Like, and I'm not saying that because you're on the show, because I would say something else nice about you, but that is legitimately, if I'm thinking what I want from like a team leader is like everything you're telling me now, I'm like, you don't get any better than this, which doesn't, it adds up as to why you guys kill it in your market. So what are you finding now? Like, what are you expecting coming out of this? Like what, so you were in 2008. So what's next, right? Like, what are you telling your crew? Yeah.
Well, here's what's interesting is I think a lot of people are reinventing, and yes, we are reinventing a lot of our systems and operations, and we're taking things digital and virtual, and I think a lot of that stuff is going to follow us. You know, I've got like 3 or 4 Zoom listing appointments this week. I hope that continues. It's very efficient for everyone involved. It helps us answer a lot of questions in a really timely fashion. But my business model has stayed the same, past, present, and future. And so that's the thing I think this has really taught me, is the timelessness in which we have operated. So we've got a slogan, and you'll see on almost everything I put out, I hashtag it, care, serve, give, right? We care about our clients and the community. We provide the best service in the real estate industry, and we give back both to the client's charity of choice, but also to our local community. And we've hardwired service and generosity into our business practices for the last 6-8 years, right? And for a long time, most of our giving and service was wrapped up in helping to fund music education for just to create equality within our local school district, and doing fundraising events and having concerts and giving back in a way that's really meaningful to me and my family, and just brings the community together. Well, we pivoted during COVID-19, and now instead of raising money for music education, we're raising money to assemble and distribute face shields for our healthcare heroes. And it was a very seamless transition. I mean, I looked at the team over Zoom a few weeks ago, and I was like, guys, this is our one thing right now. We are helping people achieve their real estate goals, and we are protecting healthcare heroes. Is everybody on board that that is what we're doing for the foreseeable future? Not a single person said no, and they actually just doubled and tripled down in ways that was just astounding to me. So our business model of making sure that everything we do points people back to service and giving, it's what we did, it's what we're doing, and it's what we'll do next. It's just who we are. And again, we were made for this. I did a Zoom open house on a new listing on Saturday, and at the end, it was just a call to action to everybody watching. Please, if you'd like to assemble face shields, let me know. If you're not in the area and you want to donate to the GoFundMe so we can get the supplies to assemble the face shields, let me know. Well, wouldn't you know, we've got buyers and sellers who've reached out and said, yes, we're moving, and send me the GoFundMe link. Like, it's just, it's
what area do you got to be in to make the mask? What area do you got to be in, and then what's the GoFundMe? I feel like this is too good of a opportunity. It's an awesome service, and I'm happy to share it.
Can we put it on here?
You guys would get involved.
All right, so
listen.
So, yeah, go ahead. What's the GoFundMe so I can put it on the bottom of the screen?
Well, I'll have to send it to you.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, send it
out to everybody. I don't have it. It's like super long, right? But here's the fun story. The choir teacher of our middle school is a client of ours, right? We helped this amazing young man rent a studio apartment a few years ago. And then about a year ago, we helped him move into a larger apartment. He wasn't in the market to make a move, but our team very selfishly wanted to be sure he never left our school district. So when we were told by a landlord that they had a vacancy coming up, we thought of him and we were like, let's move him into this bigger apartment, make him super comfy because he's an awesome teacher. We never want to lose him, right? So then this young man is just amazing. He's thrown fundraisers and involved his students for Hurricane Harvey, for all kinds of things over the years. And I've just watched him as a leader, and I'm so grateful that he's taught my son and will soon teach my girls as well. Well, he wakes up in the COVID-19 crisis, and he's got like one of those 3D printers, and he makes things for a 3D printing club at the middle school. And he reaches out to me and like 2 or 3 other families, and he says, I think I want to print visors and see if we can get some elastic and foam and face shields. Will you and your kids help put them together, and we can give them to doctors and nurses, because I feel like I need to do something right now that protects our healthcare heroes. Cut to 6 weeks later, the snowball effect of this, we now have amassed over 200 volunteers. We have, as of yesterday, assembled and distributed over 12,500 face shields.
Really?
We're sending shipments to Delaware, to Maryland, New York, New Jersey. Now there are areas of France and Spain that are asking him how to create community groups to assemble these face shields and get them to their communities. And he's still teaching online, choir, through distance learning, and then overseeing this as well. And my whole team has stepped in and is helping. 2 of our agents, I was like, who's administratively gifted and can help him? He needs help on the logistics.
Yeah.
2 agents were like, we're helping. Then we got our entire Keller Williams office to participate, because you're right, Keller Williams is known for giving back and serving. And we've got a day of service that we do every May called Red Day. And I'm in charge with a co-chair of the culture committee this year of Red Day. So I went to the committee and I was like, guys, it's not Red Day, let's make it Red Month, and let's make this happen. Now we've got 40 other agents who are helping to do this. So it's been an amazing season to support this other leader and really where he felt called to make a difference right now, and for us to rally around him and to partner with him, all while still holding $20 million in sales volume together, right? But it's who we are, and we'll go back to other charities and other ways of giving back in our business model when the time comes, and Lord willing, it'll be sooner rather than later, because that will mean that we flatten the curve and we fix COVID. But I think for me, again, back to your question, what's next? It's just more of the same in terms of care, serve, give. It's more of the same in terms of putting other people's needs and goals ahead of our own and taking care of them and giving them great service. And it's more of the same of just showing love and kindness in our community, because all of that is timeless, and I wouldn't change any of it.
No, that's awesome, Vanessa. And I know you do have to run because you're incredibly busy during this time. But what I want to capture here, when this goes out to our folks, we're going to have your email, we're going to have the GoFundMe, because, you obviously, you're, again, going back to your results, your team is ready for this. And not only were you ready for it, because of that, you're able to give back. You guys are probably one of the first people in the world to be able to support this person making the face masks. It's not something people are thinking about right now. A lot of it is very, how do I survive, right? So your team was set up to not only do well yourselves, but then also offer opportunity for everyone else to be like, hey, you want to help out? Are you in a position to do that? Here's a way to do it. So I'm going to be getting involved. I'm more than happy with sharing whatever you have there. It's going to go out for the face mask. I think it's a brilliant idea for the 3D printers. Hopefully we can save the world here, or help save the world, I should say. And if anybody wants to get in touch with Vanessa, you have her contact information down below there. Definitely reach out to her for your real estate needs, if you want to join her team for the face mask, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, Vanessa, you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I think what I want to just offer up to everyone, and this is free, so I'm not looking, this is my gift, right, to all of your watchers. If you go to careservegive.com, which is our business model, right, I put a half-day training on how to hardwire generosity into your business. And I just invite everyone to go to careservegive.com, register there to get the link to the free online digital class. If you're sitting at home like me and you want more,
Give? Is that right?
careservegive.com.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. Careservegive. I just think that each one of us is gifted and talented in a very different way, right? And when we bring the gifts that the creator of the universe, honestly, has given each one of us, and we really focus them in a way that makes a difference in the world, and then we hardwire that into the operations of our business, it creates this whole life where my kids know that productivity and service and giving back are all tied up with each other. And it you said at the beginning what's gone on in your real estate life, but I think it's a great way to have your whole life integrated. So careservegive.com. I really hope I see a bunch of you register. Again, it's free. It's something that I've offered and put out there for the last couple of years, and it just feels like it's timely right now. So I welcome everybody to take that class, and if you've got feedback, let me know.
I love it.
Thank you, Vanessa. Really appreciate your time, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Take care, everyone.
Thank you for having me.